Well, hello, friends, and welcome to your weekly meditation. We're going to go right into it. So, today, when you're thinking, I want you to bring your mind into two places simultaneously: the two buttocks bones at the bottom of your pelvis and the crown of the head. And then, when you inhale, I want you to think about that space between the two expanding, right, at your spinal column. And then, when you exhale, you'll start to think of your buttocks bones and your shins, your feet, whatever you have on the earth, or a block or a chair, moving down into the earth. So close the eyes, and we're going to start in with that pattern. Find your own breath, but that said, I'll talk us through the first couple in case it's helpful. As you inhale, the space between the buttocks bones and the crown of the head lengthens. And as you exhale, feel anything touching a foundation under you moving down. I'll talk through one more. Inhale, the space between those 2 points expanding. And exhaling, feeling more rooted down into the earth. Now you can keep working with that breath for a couple more breaths, your own pace, your own time. When we start this way, often the body will start to relax already into it, I'll say, right? Our space. But just check in if you notice tension anywhere where it's not needed. The shoulders, the face, the hips, those are the three biggest areas that often hold tension. But you may notice you're making fists. You have tension in your ankles, right? It can be anywhere. So, anywhere you notice it, soften what you do not need. And then bring your awareness up to your eyes. This is an area it's really helpful to soften. As we soften here, it can ripple through the body. But I also want to come to the eyes today, just to remind us, right, what it's like if we were to look through our eyes right now at something or some being that we love with kindness. Maybe you have an animal, a pet, a loved one, particular tree you like, right? And every time you see it, them, you look at them with kindness, with fondness. And so keeping that gaze, even though the eyes are closed, or maybe even think about turning that to yourself and gazing upon yourself with kindness. And then move your awareness down to the inside of your mouth and just get a felt sense of the inside of the mouth. Softening the tip of the tongue, but also the base of the tongue all the way at the back of the mouth. Softening that upper palate, even as if you could soften your teeth and your gums. Again, this is our imagination, this next piece. You don't actually have to do this, but you might imagine that the corners of your mouth turn up into a smile. And if it helps to imagine that you're smiling at another being whom you play and have fun with or admire, whatever that is. And again, maybe even turning that inward as if you were smiling at yourself and spreading that smile, right? Smiles are usually pretty contagious. Bring your awareness next into the center of the chest. It's the heart center, right? Our Anahata chakra. And if you don't know, your heart is just a little bit off to the left in the chest. And maybe you can feel, right, as we pause and notice, maybe we can feel the beating of the heart. And maybe not. Either way that's all right. Just listen if that speaks to you at all, right? Just listen to your heart. Imagine that you have a little pearl right in the center of the heart, the organ, the heart. And it's a little glowing pearl, right, with light and energy, color green, emerald green. And every time you inhale, imagine that that energy and that light emanate out of the heart, or that pearl, apologies, that little pearl, right, out in to fill the whole heart. And when you exhale, that energy comes back down into the pearl. I'll repeat that. When you inhale, that energy is going to move out of the pearl and fill up the entirety of the heart. And when you exhale, that's going to come on down, that energy, back into the pearl. And depending on how you're feeling with this visualization, maybe the next time you inhale, you let it come all the way out of the heart, even filling up the entire body. And when you exhale, imagine that energy coming back down into the heart and into that pearl. Again, so you have options. You can just keep it within the realm of the heart. Or when you inhale, maybe you imagine that beautiful green, emerald green, vibrant, radiant energy moving into the whole body. And each time you exhale, it comes back down into that pearl. And of course, even as we do visualizations, the mind will wander. And that's okay. Every time it does, just bring it on back with that smile, with those eyes that look at with kindness, right? Bring that beautiful mind back to wherever we are. So the Buddha talks about spreading our heart full of love to the whole world. So I really like this visualization for imagining that. If you'd like to, with your visualization, maybe even imagining that every time you inhale, that beautiful radiant energy, it moves outside of you to all around you, up to the sun millions of miles away, to those sounds that you're potentially hearing from miles away. And the next time you exhale and bring that energy back into the pearl, go ahead and just leave that pearl in your heart. Let that energy just sit within the pearl. And bring your awareness down to your hands. Now, this is one of the areas of the body that the mind, I call it mental mapping, right? The mind uses the hands a ton. The body does, right? So the mind is very acutely aware and often has a lot of sensation around the hands. So if you bring your awareness to the palms of the hands, you can probably feel some energy there in the palms of your hands. So tune into that energy. Maybe expanding that, noticing the backs of the hands, and if you feel any connection to sensation to the energy, the insides, the backs, just anywhere through your hands and your fingers. Bringing us to the hands after being with our awareness in the heart, because the hands are the symbolic uh, area, right, for giving and receiving, which is part of the work of the heart, right, in this life, to learn how to give and to receive. Maybe you have one that you know you do a little more of. Maybe you're a little bit, quote, better at giving, aka more comfortable, right, than you are at receiving, and vice versa. Maybe you're more comfortable receiving than you are giving. And then just noticing, it doesn't have to be an excavational dig here, right? But when we talk about this, and I bring up that symbolic gesture of the hands of giving and receiving, notice if anything comes up as to why it might be more comfortable to do one over the other for you. To give you an example, it doesn't have to be the same as me ever, 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 ever. You are your own person. I'm really, really comfortable giving. And that was a survival mechanism, is what I've discovered. Because if I gave to people, hopefully they would like me and they wouldn't leave me. Very simplistically put, right? Receiving, so hard, because then I have to trust somebody and let them in. Maybe just take a few moments and visualize that the one that is more difficult for you, not as comfortable, that comes, that you can do that with more comfort. Let's say it that way. That as you move throughout your day to day, if it's difficult for you to give, maybe you try to give today a little more. And that if it's more comfortable for you to give, maybe you try to receive a little more as you move through your day without expectation. On how the exchange should go, or how the other piece and person or being should react when you give or receive. Let's go ahead and bring our hands up to our heart, one on top of the other. And maybe just noticing if you feel any energy in that heart center behind those hands. And, just throw out there this center, this heart center. This is also the area of love. Yep, we know that really well, right? It's also the center of empathy, compassion, forgiveness. So maybe take a moment and have a moment of compassion for yourself. We're doing the best we can with what we got every dang day. I do believe that to be true. And maybe taking a second. And if there's anything that you is coming up, don't have to go digging for it, that's coming up that maybe you could forgive yourself for this morning or whenever you're doing this video. And it's also the center of acceptance. Can you accept yourself just as you are, exactly as you are right now? For this moment. Bring your palms together now into prayer. Namaste hands. Inhale, expand the spine, and exhale. Soften the head in towards the heart. Right? Always, always, whenever we make decisions, right, trying to come from that place in the heart. Namaste. Hmm. And remember that little pearl anytime you need it. I'm trying to see my heart. Anytime that pearl, you can let that expand if you need a little love, even for yourself or someone around you. It's there anytime.